It may be November, but we're talking baseball here on the Jersey Magazine. It's Jim Monaghan, my guest this morning. Chris Roof, he's the longtime head coach at Governor Livingston High School in Berkeley Heights, and Steve Trimper, who is the head coach at Stetson University in Florida. Good morning and welcome.
Morning, Jim.
Jim, good morning. Thanks for having me on.
The Garden State Baseball Coaches Clinic is coming on Friday, December 9th at Gamers in Kenilworth. Chris, tell us about the lineup you've put together this year.
Well, I'll tell you what, for the second year, I'm very proud of the lineup that we've constructed. Again, with my very good friend over here, Coach Steve Trimper from Stetson, who's just an amazing human being and just an unbelievable coach. He's doing great things down in Stetson. I'm putting some pressure on him right now. I'm hoping to see him in Omaha soon. When he does, I'm coming with him. So, but Steve is back again this year. He was the first guy that I asked because he's just amazing at what he does, and he's so supportive. When we wanted to get this off the ground, he was right there in my corner helping me and educating me because, like I said, I've never done anything like this before. I've always wanted to, but Steve has been a great advocate. So we have, obviously Steve. We have the two major Division I head coaches in New Jersey, Steve Owens from Rutgers and Robbie Sheppard from Seton Hall University. So we're really looking forward to that. We added, Kevin Schnall, who's the associate head coach at Coastal Carolina. He'll be taking over that program probably within the next couple of years from Gary Gilmore. And we added a base running guru who a lot of people rave about, and I've watched his videos, and I think he's outstanding. Mike Stolsky from Mary Hardin Baylor down in Texas. So we have 3 guys flying in and 2 guys driving their car. We also added from the ABCA Ryan Brownlee, who's going to come and speak. So we're really excited to hear him also.
Steve Owens, I'm a huge fan of his work. I've been following him, Chris, since his days at Bryant. What he's done with the Rutgers program is amazing, and I was stunned that they did not get into the NCAA tournament last year.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you 100%. He's done an amazing job. He's a great offensive and hitting mind. He does an amazing job with Rutgers.
Steve, even though you coach at Stetson down in Florida, I know you have local roots here. You're from New Jersey. You coached at Manhattan College. I'm a Fordham graduate, by the way, for a number of years. And I look at your roster and I see a lot of kids from New Jersey and there's a lot of kids from New York. What's the attraction of those players from the Northeast for you?
Yeah, well, obviously, I have a lot of ties up there, and your recruiting is only as good as the people that kind of recommend the players. There's such a big pool of players out there, so you really start to rely on the relationships, like Coach Roof and myself have, when he recommends a player, not only just from his team, but he's calling me all the time from players in his area for us to look at. So it really helps us do our recruiting a little bit better. But I think that, over my time, I was at Manhattan College. I spent 12 years at Maine. And, I did have some Florida ties even when I was at Manhattan and Maine. So it's kind of funny. My rosters have been like 50% of like Jersey, New York, New England guys, and the other 50% have been Florida guys. One of the old coaches at Malloy High School in New York City back in 2003, I got to meet him. He left and went down to Columbus High School in Florida. And, just got out of the weather back then, and I reconnected with him in like 2005. And since then, I've had I think we just hit our 40th Columbus High School baseball player play for me. And believe it or not, that was at Manhattan and Maine too. So it's vice versa. So I'm not one that says a certain region has a better player or a tougher guy or, something to that effect. I just go after the players that I can trust from the people that send them. And they were brought up right. They played for a really good high school program. They know how to do things right. Obviously, talent's a big part of it, but you got to be able to do the little things right, like playing hard, the hustle. I mean, it doesn't take any talent to hustle or to play the game right. And I think that's why we recruit a lot of New Jersey, because I have a lot of ties there. Now, with that being said, I am from New Jersey. I'm a Sussex County guy. I played in the SCIL. I played football and baseball, wrestled a little bit up there. My dad was the AD and the high school football coach and wrestling coach at Hopatcon High School for 30 some odd years. So, I got a little bit of that New Jersey swag too that we best. The biggest joke on my team is, do you call it pork roll or Taylor ham? Like now I'm in the Taylor ham area and everybody else is in the pork roll area. So we fight all the time, especially with the Miola family. And so, I think the other thing that's attractive too is, the kids in the Northeast, particularly New Jersey and New York, they don't typically play year round. You still get those two sport athletes. And I really like that with the compete factor. And some of the guys, they have a bigger ceiling. So you get a guy like we have a kid, Lorenzo Miola right now, or the Hilton boys. They played basketball in high school, and Lorenzo played a different sport. So they come in, and I see them start growing quicker than maybe the kid that was playing all the time, because now that they're at it full time, they get a little bit higher ceiling and a little bit more jump as they get through their freshman year and into their sophomore year. So, and that goes in general with any of the Northeast kids that we get down to Florida. But, the attraction is it's a really good academic school for our crowd that's listening. And again, growing up in the area, it's like going to a Lehigh or a Lafayette or a Holy Cross academically now in size of the school. We got about 3,100 students, really good business school, beautiful campus. It's rated one of the top 5 most beautiful campuses in the South. And we have an unbelievable downtown area. It's crazy. DeLand, Florida, they lead the nation in parades. They're really proud of saying that they hold the most parades in the country. We have dog parades, Lionel train parades, car parades, everything, you name it, we got it. And the way it's situated is the campus is on one end of Main Street and the baseball stadium is on the other end. So a lot of people go to dinner and, go out, get a drink, and then come to our games. So our crowds are really nice. And then you have a tradition, long before I got there, there's been many regional runs. 2018, in my second season, we had a really good run. Oops, sorry about that. Looks like I got a call coming in. Sorry. We had a really good regional run that year where we hosted the regional. We were ranked in the top 5 in the country. We ended up going to a super regional. So, you got a lot of, even so the last few years in the New York metropolitan area, with Jake DeGrom as a Stetson guy and, lives in DeLand, Corey Kluber, who was just with the Yankees a few years ago, and now we have up and coming Logan Gilbert, who was on our 2018 team, who's, the number 1 starter, 1-2 starter, I would say, for Seattle. So I think there's a lot to attract. I'm trying to do the sales pitch here, but that's kind of why people might come down and see our place.
Plus the weather. I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, that's, after spending 22 odd years in the Northeast and saying, oh, this is easy. We can go into a gym or a classroom and teach baseball. Those guys down south, they got it easy, but they're not like us. Then I get down here, I'm like, what was I thinking? So it is a little bit easier, obviously, after all those years trying to do it in a gym or dome is, we just finished fall baseball and we're sending the kids home for Thanksgiving break. We'll come back for a couple of days before finals and do some work. But, we're outside taking fly balls, live at bats. I mean, that's hard to simulate sometimes indoors. Now, with that being said, some of my Manhattan teams and Maine teams, we would be inside and, the baseball looks like an aspirin coming at you inside a cage. And then you go down south and you play a school like Stetson and you're like, wow, we're a better hitting team than I thought because it looks like a beach ball when it comes out. But there is an advantage of the weather.
Steve Trimper from Stetson University, Chris Roof from Governor Livingston High School, my guests this morning here on the Jersey Magazine, the Garden State Baseball Coaches Clinic coming Friday, December 9th at Gamers in Kenilworth. Chris, you're putting this together. And one of the things I love about going to coaches clinics like this is how much I can learn, because one of the things I'm always concerned about, and I've coached both with you and on the opposite side of the field from you, is being out-coached. How do you avoid being out-coached, Chris?
I go to as many clinics as I possibly can and learn from people like Steve Trimper. That's why I wanted to run something like this in our backyard. You have Mohegan Sun, you have the National Convention every year, which is unbelievable. We used to have, around here, we used to have the Cherry Hill Clinic, which was a lot of fun, not here anymore. We had another clinic that a guy named Juju Abbott used to run. It's not there anymore. So that's why I said, listen, I talked to the guys at Gamers who were just great people, Mike Colsar, Asani Whitfield, John Lewis. And I said, guys, we got to try to do something like this. And they were all on board.
Steve, I'll ask you the same question because the stakes are obviously a little bit higher. There's probably more information, more analytics involved and all of that. How do you go and try to avoid being out-coached?
Yeah.
collegiate level.
You know, you're only as good as what you got today. I'll tell you that. I think, you know, one of the things we are is the title for all of us is coach, but we're really teachers, you know, and teachers are constantly learning, you know, whether it's new information, you know, new technology. You know, I think if you don't do that and re-educate yourself yearly, you know, you're not going to be in this business very long. You know, and I think that's something I've always prided myself on is I go to all these clinics. Like I try to go to as many as I can. I sit in the front row. You know, I've been going to the ABCA National Convention for 20 some odd years. And I like to speak at these things. I'm actually fortunate enough to speak at the ABCA National Convention as one of their speakers this year. So the New Jersey one is my warm up. I got the national one with 7,000 people coming up in front of me. So I got to get the bugs out. And then I do speak at Mohegan Sun, but I speak to go to these and to, you know, give some of the stuff that I've seen that's worked in our programs, whatever topic we're talking about inside of baseball. But coming off that stage and then reconnecting with coaches that hear you speak. And then I can't tell you how many times I come off a place, I got done speaking and a coach is like, hey, great speech. Let's talk one-on-one. Hey, I got a player for you. What do you think? And then all of a sudden I'm writing down notes and I build new relationships of people that can help me do my job, which is recruit, you know, very good student athletes, both on and off the field.
No, I'll be at the ABCA this year. In fact, for the first time, I have some musical friends down in Nashville as well, so I'll be multitasking. But I'll be the one with the yellow legal pad writing down notes. Again, the Garden State Baseball Coaches Clinic. It's Friday, December 9th at Gamers in Kenilworth. And Chris, I'll make sure that I put the contact information so that DHA listeners can get all the information they need in the description of this video. Steve, Chris, thank you so much for your time this morning. Look forward to seeing you in Kenilworth in a couple of weeks.
Thanks, Jim.
Thanks, Jim, for having us on. I can't wait to get up to Jersey. I'm going to buy my Taylor ham, egg, and cheese. So.
There you go.